In the description box below this video is a link where you can download my Excel spreadsheet with my DraftKings cheat sheet for Week 5 of the NFL, October 2nd through October 6th, 2025. Go to the description box below this video, click the link, and it will take you to my Google Drive, where you will find my Excel spreadsheet. You can view the spreadsheet online. You can also download the Excel spreadsheet to your desktop by going to File, Download, Microsoft Excel. Let's look at the Excel spreadsheet. This Excel spreadsheet has unique fantasy data presented in a way not available anywhere else, but specifically fantasy points per DraftKings salary dollar. It's a ratio of fantasy points to salary. I also have week-to-week scoring leaders, weekly scoring leaders. So let me give you an overview of this spreadsheet first. The first column has the players. The second column has FPPG, which is fantasy points per game. The average fantasy points per game for the whole season, averaged out. This data is from DraftKings. So on DraftKings, FPPG, and on their website, if you click Export to CSV, you can download a CSV spreadsheet, which can be opened in an Excel file, and it will include this information as well as salary. The next column, which is the third column, column C, has, for the season, fantasy points per game divided by the DraftKings salary, and it's presented as a ratio of fantasy points per game per dollar of DraftKings salary, or $1,000 of DraftKings salary. So A.J. Brown, for every $1,000 that you pay in DraftKings salary, will give you 1.59 fantasy points. So the next two columns has the fantasy point production from week 4. So total fantasy points for that week, week 4, as well as the ratio of fantasy points per DraftKings salary dollar, or $1,000. Then I have week 3 and then week 2. If you go to the right, I have the position, the team, the DraftKings salary. The salary is adjusted week to week. So this is the up-to-date DraftKings salary, which you will find on the website this week. And then I also have the upcoming game, week 5. And these games will run from Thursday, October 2nd through Monday, October 6th, 2025. So this week, some of the teams have a bye week. And there I designate it as bye. If you look at the top row here, it's fixed, so you can scroll down and the top row will still remain in place so that you can see the see what the columns represent. Also, where you see where it's blank, that's because in that week that player was not in the top 100 of fantasy points production for that week. So it's blank that particular week. And then I put bye if it's a bye. Also in the top row, if you look in the bottom right corner of each box, there is a little button with an arrow. What this button does is allows you to sort. So you can sort alphabetically. Now here, let's say I want to see who has the highest fantasy points production. We're going to sort from largest to smallest. And we see here for the season, Puka Nacua, 29.62 fantasy points per game. Then you have Josh Allen, 25.62. So here Puka Nacua is, for the season, he is the fantasy point leader. So the reason why the ratio is important is because on DraftKings, the ratio of fantasy points per salary or over salary is because DraftKings, you have a salary cap of $50,000. So you have to look at two things. It's the total fantasy point production, but specifically, you want to see the fantasy point production as a ratio of the salary. So it's like a return on investment. If I give you $5,000 salary, I'd rather have someone that's going to give me 20 fantasy points instead of 10 fantasy points. And that's where these ratios come into play. So you're basically looking for value. So you have total fantasy point production, and then you have a value ratio, which is fantasy points divided by the salary. So the second column here is fantasy points per game divided by $1,000 of the DraftKings salary. So all I did was take the number in column B and then divide it by the salary. Here. So in the case of so let's see here. Let me give an example. So Darren Waller, tight end for Miami, for week 4, his total for the season, averages 17.7 games. He's only played one game for Miami. He played last week. So 17.7 divided by $3,500, and then you adjust for the divide by $3,500. The exact calculation is 17.7 times $1,000 divided by 3,500, or 17.7 divided by 3.5 per K. So every $1,000. So 17.7 divided by 3.5 gives you 5.06. And so for the season, but Darren Waller's only played one game, it's 5.06. Malik Neighbors is 5.01. Carson Wentz is 4.15. Let me find here. Puka Nacua, here we go, 3.53. So overall, for the season, Puka Nacua is the fantasy leader in terms of total productions per game, as well as the ratio of fantasy points per salary, per DraftKings salary. So then if you want to reset, just go back to sort from A to Z, and then go back to the first column and sort from A to Z. And so you can look at the whole season, and you can also go week to week. So that's week 4, week 3, week 2. So again, so you got fantasy points per game, then the ratio of fantasy points per game divided by DraftKings salary. Then you have fantasy points for week 4, then you have the ratio, week 3, the ratio, week 2, the ratio, right here. Then you have the salary. You can also sort by team. So if you're going to target a specific team because they have a good matchup, you can also sort by team. If you're looking for a specific position, you can also sort by position. So going back, resetting the page, here we go like this. So let me show you where I get the week-to-week information, which is actually from ESPN. So DraftKings, I could not find. DraftKings is only publishing the average for the season, but ESPN presents on their ESPN fantasy football website. They have weekly scoring leaders. So for week 4, you have Puka Nacua, and then total fantasy points 36. So basically I took this column and put it into the spreadsheet. So let me show you some more tools that DraftKings provides you. DraftKings is probably one of the best places to look for injuries. So they have the injury designations, Lamar Jackson, doubtful. So when you click him, Game log shows you the fantasy points that he scored per game, but then go to news, and then they give you the update on the injuries. Also, they provide a depth chart. So if you look underneath the game here, the depth chart. So why the depth chart is important is because, for example, let's say Christian McCaffrey is out. Then that gives the other running backs lower down on the depth chart more opportunities. They also provide OPRK, which is the opponent's defensive ranking. So, for example, Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, he's playing against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's defense is ranked 23rd, and green is good. And you can isolate by team. So this is San Francisco only. This is Los Angeles Rams only. So this weekend in the future, check out my channel because I will be posting more NFL football videos, college football videos, MLB baseball videos. In the future, I plan on posting NHL hockey videos, and college basketball has a lot of data. And the problem with college basketball in terms of presenting the information compared to NFL football and college. So NFL and college football, they post the lines about 5 days early. So college football, they start posting lines on Sunday and Monday. NFL, they start posting lines like Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. College basketball, let's say if you want to look at the Saturday games, they don't post the lines until Friday evening. But I'm thinking of ways to present, to come up with a cheat sheet or a watch list for where a spreadsheet where when the lines come out, you can refer to that spreadsheet to look for advantages for where the spreadsheet may be off. So I'm coming up with ideas in my mind for college basketball. The challenge of college basketball is not only the number of games, it's also there's multiple games in the week. Also, the lines come out the night before, so there's very limited time to analyze the line data and then make a video and then post it. However, it is reasonable to create week-to-week updated power rankings or power ratings of the college basketball teams. And I think it's also reasonable to create a watch list where you have a list of teams that are outperforming the Vegas point spread. So with that watch list, what you can do is then on the when the Saturday lines come out, the Saturday and Sunday lines come out, you can then look at that watch list and then look for the specific teams that have been outperforming and then go for those teams. So those are some of the ideas that I have in my mind. Also, I like to post videos about data analytics and applying artificial intelligence to solve real world problems.